Good morning.
We're here. That's not funny.
Thanks for joining both of us this morning.
We're right here. Come on, click us. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, that was last time. They just keyed Kylie out.
That's
so just for the stunt.
Hilarious. Yeah, if the bosses are watching, I was here. It was just the control room having fun.
Yeah. Or not. Anyway, we're both here now and you're there, so we're all back together again.
One big happy
family. Britain's biggest tour company, Thomson, has been forced to make an apology after an employee sent abusive emails to an unhappy customer. 1
month after Gemma Fish and her fiancé complained about their hotel room conditions in Mexico, they received 3 foul-mouthed rants from Thomson's email account, suggesting they should have booked with another agency. The couple spent more than $4,500 on the trip for 2 and say they were devastated when their romantic retreat was more like a prison cell.
Look at those emails there. Joining us in the studio with more is consumer advocate Christopher Zinn from One Big Switch. Hey, Chris.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Is there an art to making an effective complaint? Because every now and again we've got to complain about something.
There is an art, and part of it is to stay cool, then to complain to the right person. And actually, I don't consider them complaints. What you're doing is just saying, look, I was dissatisfied or disappointed or let down by what you said you'd give me, be it a good or a service. Please, what's your explanation? And I think if you couch it in those terms, then you're much more likely to get a good response. So know what you're complaining about, have it documented if possible, go to the right person and have an idea what you want. Is it an apology? Is it some sort of redress, replacement, repair, even the money back? Who knows?
Okay, so that's some good advice there. It can quickly escalate though, because sometimes it depends with how that information is met, on the other side, because if it's from the manager of the establishment, they can get their back up quite quickly.
It can do, and that's why you need to be really cool when you're doing it. You're really just asserting your rights. You know, perhaps people say, oh, you're whinging. You're not whinging. If it's a proper complaint and not a vexatious one, you're just saying, look, you undertook to do X, Y and Z. It really wasn't up to scratch for these reasons. What's your explanation? So you throw it on to them to give you the explanation. It's not up for you to explain. You've already explained what's wrong from your point of view. And that, I think, puts you in a better system. I mean, there's a whole industry of internal dispute resolution, external dispute resolution, ombudsman, all sorts of complaints. But you're right. If it's in a restaurant and you complain the food was cold and there's a manager, whatever, had a bad day, they can let off. And that's where you really need to be careful. Not to match it, but just to stand back.
See, here's the thing, and I reckon a lot of companies bank on this, that a lot of people will suffer in silence because they don't like confrontation and don't like the thought of taking on a big corp.
Well, that's it. The point is, it's not confrontation. You should try and avoid that because they're right. Nobody likes that. You're just saying, look, these are my rights, and you know we go through whole books of all the rights you have as a consumer. You don't necessarily know this, but you know if something's wrong, and it's just telling them. And you know, 9 times out of 10, Larry, you'll be surprised that there is someone who'll give you a sympathetic hearing. And actually, often the best thing is to head these things off at the pass, not let them get caught up in the process. And someone will say, look, I'll give you a coffee or whatever it is, and actually both parties can end up happier with that because actually the business learns something, and that's the most important thing about complaints.
If your meal is, say, 35 minutes late, that's inconvenient, but it's not a disaster. Where do you draw the line? Where do you know?
Look, it's so personal. I mean, if I went to a restaurant and said, look, I've got tickets for the theatre, I need to be in and out in the next half hour, and they say yes, and then it arrives late, I've got very good grounds for complaint. If I go into a shishi place and I'm in a hurry and I don't tell them that, then perhaps not. So it's just using your common sense. But look, certainly the point is we all have different ideas of time and how long something should take or how hot something should be if it's a coffee or whatever. It's just a question of asking.
You got some good tips for us, right? How to make a successful complaint. So let's have a run through those.
Yeah. As I say, be relaxed, be calm, speak to the right person with respect, be clear about what you want. Is it a refund? Is it a replacement? Is it just an apology or a hearing? Keep documents, bits of paper, emails, and you know, go to the right person. Just ask who I should, you know, I've got an issue, who should I complain to? Although I hesitate to use the word complaint.
Yeah, is on the spot best, Christopher, rather than going away and writing a letter, you know, to the manager 2 weeks later?
Yeah, look, as I've said, there are these incredible processes now, but it can take time and it can be frustrating in the paperwork. I think if you can get a quick resolution there and then, even if it's not exactly what you want, it's better, unless you really are prepared to go the whole distance.
You can't always get to the right person either. You get stuck in that call centre and you can't get to the right person.
Yeah, well, that's true, but then you should ask, say, look, if you say, look,